The evening sun was sinking, spilling its golden light across the city. In the wealthiest corner of town stood a grand restaurant, famous for its crystal chandeliers, velvet curtains, and the soft music of a pianist playing in the corner. This was not just a place to eat, it was a place of status, where the rich paraded their wealth through polished shoes, silk ties, and glittering jewels. Inside, the air was heavy with the perfume of luxury. Guests laughed in polished voices, forks touched fine china, and the clinking of glasses echoed like gentle bells. The room seemed perfect until the doors opened. A man walked in. His shirt was faded, the fabric worn thin from use. His jeans were old, creased, and his sandals bore the mark of 1,000 walks. Compared to the elegance around him, he looked like a stranger in the wrong world. Heads turned, eyes narrowed, whispers rose like tiny knives in the air. Who is he? Does he even belong here? The man did not flinch. He walked slowly, carrying himself with a calm dignity that seemed unshaken by the judging stares. He chose a quiet corner table and sat down, folding his tired hands together as if the noise and the glitter of the hall did not exist. From the far side of the room, the restaurant manager watched closely. His name was Rajiv, a man who lived by appearances. To him, clothing was not just fabric, it was proof of a person's worth. And when he saw the stranger in worn clothes sitting among the wealthy, his pride burned with anger. To Rajiv, this was not just a guest, it was an insult to the very image of his restaurant. He moved across the floor with deliberate steps, his polished shoes striking against the marble like a warning. The waiters hesitated, but Rajiv's eyes told them to stay away. He approached the stranger and demanded, with his presence alone, that the man leave. His voice carried the arrogance of someone who believed wealth was the only measure of dignity. He looked down at the stranger and saw nothing but failure in his clothes. The hall fell silent. Guests leaned back in their chairs, entertained by the spectacle. A few smirked, others whispered cruelly. They saw not a man, but an outsider, being humiliated before their eyes. And the stranger? He did not protest. He did not argue. He simply rose from his chair with quiet grace, as though the weight of judgment did not reach his heart. Without a word, he turned and walked towards the exit. The laughter was quiet but sharp, cutting through the air like shards of glass. To the people in the hall, it seemed the stranger had been defeated, but what they did not see was the calm confidence in his eyes as he left. Outside, the night air was cooler. A black luxury sedan waited at the curb. The driver rushed forward and opened the door with respect, bowing his head slightly. The man stepped inside, his composure unbroken. He took out his phone, sent a brief message, and leaned back in silence. His expression held no shame, no anger, only patience. Inside the restaurant, Rajiv puffed his chest with pride. He believed he had done the right thing. To him, the restaurant's dignity had been protected. He smiled to himself, certain that he had shown leadership. But arrogance blinds, and Rajiv could not see the storm that was already on its way. Minutes later, the restaurant doors opened again. This time, the entire hall froze in shock. The man who entered was no ordinary guest. It was Mr. Kapoor, the billionaire owner of the restaurant chain. His very presence shifted the air. Guests stood in awe, waiters scrambled nervously, and Rajiv rushed forward, eager to serve. But Kapoor's eyes were cold, his face stern. He was not here to dine. He was here because of the message he had received from the man Rajiv had thrown out. The whispers began again, but this time, they were not about laughter. They were about fear. Kapoor asked one question, his voice sharp enough to cut through the noise. Where was the man who had been here moments ago? Rajiv, suddenly pale, admitted that he had sent the man away. He tried to justify it, explaining that the stranger looked out of place, that his clothes did not match the luxury of the restaurant, but Kapoor's eyes hardened as the truth unfolded. The hall erupted in gasps as Kapoor revealed who that man truly was. He was not a beggar, not a wanderer, not a fool who had lost his way. He was Arjun Malhotra, the new business partner of the restaurant chain, a man whose decisions could shape the future of every employee in that building. The shock was unbearable. Guests who had mocked him lowered their eyes in shame. Waiters froze in disbelief. And Rajiv? His body trembled, his arrogance shattered into dust. The doors opened once more, and Arjun returned. But this time, the room was different. Silence filled every corner. Respect, which had been absent before, now flowed like an invisible tide. The same man in faded clothes walked back to his corner table, and every head bowed as he passed. Mr. Kapoor welcomed him with the warmth that Rajiv had denied, and as Arjun sat again, his calm voice carried across the room. He reminded everyone, without anger, that respect is not stitched into fabric, but is carried in the heart. A suit may make a man look rich, but only kindness makes him truly valuable. The words struck deeper than any punishment could. Rajiv, desperate, fell into regret, but it was too late. Kapoor dismissed him immediately. The hall, once filled with laughter at the stranger's expense, was now filled with silence. Silence heavy with shame, guilt, and realization. That night, the guests left with more than food in their stomachs. They left with a lesson carved into their minds. Appearances deceive, but actions reveal the truth. And Rajiv? He would remember that evening forever. The night he denied service to a man because of his clothes and lost everything in return.